Welcome back to NFL Kings. Thank you all for joining us today as we break down the Week 14 matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns, with the Ravens opening as a -1 point favorite, being bet all the way to -2.5, and the 45.5 being bet up to 47. Very interesting. Obviously, people are a little bit on the Ravens and the over throughout the week. Looks like a near 66% chance for the Ravens to win. Shouldn't be that surprising considering they did blow them out in week 1. Although we do actually have the Browns as a slightly better team currently, just based upon the way they've been playing lately. This 11 mile per hour wind and 39-degree day could play a slight factor, as especially with both these quarterbacks being not the strongest of arms. Both definitely struggle in the wind to complete passes, so defensively that could play a big factor in this game for both defenses. We have a few injuries for both sides, nothing too egregious other than the offensive line is hobbled coming into this game for the Cleveland Browns. If Wyatt Teller, who's not expected to play, does miss this game, that drastically changes Cleveland's outlook. Without Wyatt Teller, they were averaging basically under 4 yards a carry. With him, over 5. So it's a huge loss. Without Wyatt Teller, I give Cleveland, I don't want to say a 0% chance. I give them almost no chance to win this game. And I'm not kidding about that, folks. Without Wyatt Teller, they will not be able to run the ball, not on this Cleveland front. And I actually expect Calais Campbell to play. Jimmy Smith, haven't really heard anything about. But those are the kind of the two big injuries for Baltimore. Not enough to offset the Wyatt Teller injury, who's just such a huge player for them. And obviously, if they don't have Conklin and Treader too, like that's just, I mean, you're working with 2/5 of your offensive line, and the 2/5, that's basically the worst of the 2/5 left, which is not good. Also, without potentially Denzel Ward would be another huge loss as well. On that defensive side could be a problem as well. So definitely some things that I definitely don't like. Batonio. Hopefully Treader and Conklin play for their sake, but if they don't, that's definitely a big factor in this game. I don't expect them to be able to run the ball anywhere near as effectively as they normally do. And then you're talking about going against the front, who's actually doing very, very well against the run, although Patrick Queen is grading out as the worst linebacker in football this year. And was clearly a horrible draft pick by the Baltimore Ravens. Let's see. We have kind of the matchups. Just want to look real quick. You have Baltimore's defense 13th against tight ends, 3rd against wide receivers, 7th against running backs, and 12th against quarterbacks, meaning 7th against running backs. Scary. Already they only give up to barely over 1,000. Like, that's really good. Really good. And quarterbacks are doing pretty decent for rushing touchdowns. Lamar will probably get his rushing touchdown. I wouldn't be surprised if that prop hits at all. Giving up 4 rushing touchdowns for quarterbacks on the season, considering they haven't really played that many rushing quarterbacks. I assume that's probably because of Lamar Jackson early on in the season. I think he had 2 in that game. For both these teams, really interesting. And then you obviously look at Cleveland. They're the worst in the league against tight ends. Hello. They're only going against Mark Andrews, 3rd best tight end in football. If you don't think I'm playing that prop, I am all over that prop this week. Oh, yeah. 9 touchdowns to tight ends Cleveland has given up. Oh, yeah. All over Mark Andrews this week, folks. All over Mark Andrews. Nearly 700 yards receiving. Yep. Also pretty bad to wide receivers as well. And running backs they're actually doing a pretty good job against running backs. Although Baltimore's run, they've given up 9 rushing touchdowns, so not that great, clearly. And then obviously not good against quarterbacks overall as well. So very, very troubling statistics for Cleveland's side, and I guess it does kind of bear out on this side. I mean, they're giving up some of the highest third down percentage. They have been able to control the ball, so that's probably why they've been able to kind of win those games. This is scary, though. Their time of possession numbers. If they get dominated in time of possession, that could be disastrous for them. The amount of plays that both these teams run, the under could definitely be in play just because of that. But there's no way I would bet it just because of how good these third down numbers are. Good third down defense here. Pretty good third down offense. Really good third down offense. Bad third down defense. Leads me to believe Baltimore's going to be on the field quite a bit. Quite a bit. They should be able to move the ball really well on them. And obviously, rush defense has been decent at 104.3, but that's because they've been able to hold teams to throwing the ball because they've been ahead. I just don't see Cleveland being ahead in this game, and if that's the case, that's going to be really tough. Now, if Cleveland is able to run the ball effectively, control the clock, and keep Lamar off the field to the point where they're ahead and then force Baltimore to play from behind, now all of a sudden Cleveland's in the driver's seat. But based upon the numbers, does anybody actually think that's going to happen without Wyatt Teller? I don't. Not without Wyatt. With Wyatt, yeah, okay. I could see that potentially happening. But Cleveland just doesn't show up either against Pittsburgh or Baltimore either. So that's scary as well. Over. Wow. Look at all these overs, folks. A lot of overs. Baltimore went under, though, because they scored 6 points in that game. And that was a healthy Baltimore defense, though. I don't see them matching up so well. Like, Cleveland does not match up well against Baltimore. Like, Baltimore is a pretty good run defense. They've got 3 good corners, although Jimmy Smith's probably not going to play, so it'll probably be Devontae Harris. But that's not going to be a huge deal because you got Landry and Higgins right now, so that's plenty. They got, Humphrey and Peters to match up with those two. Peoples-Jones will have a decent probably matchup occasionally, but like how much, maybe gets 2 catches on the day. Austin Hooper could have a decent day going against Patrick Queen and Board. Honestly, that's probably the matchup I would look at, especially if he plays. If I was Mayfield, that's kind of where I'd be looking, is at those tight ends, not at those wide receivers, at those tight ends. That's where his matchup is. As well as Kareem Hunt. His running backs could actually have a pretty good day as well, if he's smart enough to use them in the passing game. But they have to be able to run the ball to have effectiveness in this game. And honestly, especially if Calais Campbell plays, I don't see them being able to run the ball that effectively. I'm trying to think of, gonna be tough there. Myles Garrett against Orlando Brown, Phillips. Yeah, those backup offensive linemen too for Baltimore could play a factor. Obviously, they were healthy going into the first week of the season. So they dominated up front. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be able to do that quite as well this game. This game should actually be really evenly matched just because of the injuries that Baltimore sustained over the season. But that secondary is bad for Cleveland, man. They got nobody. I mean, everybody's grading out as replacement level players. Mitchell's their best corner left, and I assume he'll be on Brown and Boykin occasionally. But if Willie Snead's back, I mean, he could have a pretty good day. Duvernay as well. Obviously, last game Baltimore played, they just ran the ball like crazy. They didn't even have to really throw the ball. But in this game, they should throw the ball and have success throwing the ball. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they do have success yet. So, numbers are all leaning Baltimore. I literally don't see anything that's really favoring Cleveland outside of the tight end matchup. Should be decent for Cleveland. That Hooper, that's probably his best matchup. If they are able to run the ball, all right, then Cleveland does have a shot, and we'll know that within the first 2 drives of this game as to whether or not Cleveland has a shot. If Cleveland, after the first 2 drives, is averaging under 4 yards per carry, they're going to get annihilated in this game and immediately put a lot of money on Baltimore. I'll just tell you that right now, folks. If they're over 5, Cleveland has a very good shot at being in this game and even winning this game. So that's going to be where we stand as far as our picks. That's why we are kind of bullish on Baltimore this week for both the money line and -2.5. That's where I would lean personally. I can't see any scenario where I would take Cleveland here outside of Wyatt Teller somehow coming in at the last second. Like without Wyatt Teller, I cannot honestly play Cleveland in this game. There's just no way. I mean, it's going to come down to is Baker Mayfield going to have another game going against? Let's see. I'm sorry. Tennessee's defense is atrocious. Nowhere near the same defense that he's going to be facing this week. He will have a lot more pressure in his face. Will not be able to just stand there and just dice him up and stuff. So, is Mayfield going to have anywhere near at 11-mile-an-hour winds, anywhere near the game he had before? I just don't see it. That's why there's just too many factors leaning Baltimore. Baltimore definitely should be the pick here. Thank you all for watching our Week 14 breakdowns. Be sure to check out our other videos this week, as we did break down the Chiefs-Miami game and the Pittsburgh game as well. So be sure to check out those videos this week, and be sure to check out our channel for more content, as we do upload more and more content each and every week. And be sure to subscribe as we get closer and closer to the season. We'll be breaking down more and more content and doing full in-depth analysis on these games, so get you ready for each week. Thank you all for watching NFL Kings, and I'll catch you guys next time.